Another warm day here in Virginia. We're about ready to start the bus up, take it over, and do a little work on the AC compressor. We're going to replace a seal and see if we can get some cooling back in this bus. All right, we got bus started. We're just gonna let it air up. We'll head over. Replacing my iPhone cord here because the one I had was not working very well. Shore power is disconnected, and we're selected back on the bus power here. Yeah, just sitting here for a couple minutes here, it's already like, whew, it's already hot, and I think it's, you know, about high 70s right now, almost, well, no, it's warmer than that, it's almost 80, yeah. Well, hopefully my camera will stay here. I don't have it fastened down, so I just got to be careful on the turns and stuff. My guess is it's gonna fall over, but I wonder if there's a way I can kind of strap it down a little bit. Let me see. So on these doors back there, I've got two doors that basically separate the front half of the bus to the back half of the bus. As far as the bathroom has, you know, a door on the front and the back, so you can close off the bathroom. But you know, just with the age of this bus and things have kind of settled over the years, the latch mechanisms feel like they're going to click, but you get any kind of like up and down movement on the bus, and those doors will come right off out of those little seals there, or the little latches that they basically got there, and then it'll close and slam. So that's what you heard there just a few minutes ago. It might be something I can take, maybe they're all piano hinged, so maybe I can take the piano hinges, you know, loose, or just loosen them up and then, you know, let it fall down more into its groove, but I haven't got to that yet either. Let's try to turn you guys a little bit there, let you guys see out. now we go to work. Oh, I see. All right, got the new seal in. Ralph helped me out again. He had gloves on, so his hands were much cleaner than mine. He says that basically when you're putting these seals in, make sure you keep them nice and clean. He says any bit of dirt on these things will make them leak again. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these bolts back on here, and I'm going to start pulling a vacuum on the system too, just to see what kind of results we get this time. Let's see here. So these, like I said, these get torqued down to, there's another one inside here that holds this housing on, that holds the seal in place. And according to the directions, it's 35 foot-pounds. And it's the same measurements for torquing down this clutch engagement piece here too. Socket's almost too short, or the extension. So I'm hoping that when I put a vacuum on this, that it'll at least hold pressure. Last time when I put that vacuum on there, ran it for about, I don't know, about 40 minutes or so, took it off, and you know, pretty much almost instantly it was having pressure come down. They put a little bit of Freon in here just to put some pressure on it, or I shouldn't say pressure, so pressure with the Freon. When we pulled a vacuum, the vacuum came right off. But we put a little bit of Freon in here, built a little pressure up, and we could hear it leaking around the seal was what it sounded like. So we're gonna go ahead and come off the bolt. We're gonna go ahead and basically pull another vacuum on this, just to see if we're wasting our time trying to put any pressure of, you know, Freon back in it. All right. Now, replace the seal, and I'm in the process of putting the belts back on the compressor. We found the leak. The leak is coming from a hose that's right above this, so I'll be changing out that hose. I guess they're telling me that basically with these, they've converted this bus from the old R12 to like 134, and when they've done that, they're supposed to have changed the lines out. And I guess these, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, this red line here is for the old system. The new ones are supposed to be like a steel or a black color. So I've got to change that out now too. Come on. All right, well, I'm back down at the bus today and doing the rest of the AC work. I've got the compressor right now on. I'm holding about 20 inches right now, which is much better than what I had. I was only holding about 10 inches before I did some work on it. So what I basically did is I replaced all the lines on the AC compressor and also on the condenser on the side of the bus. So now I'm gonna pull a vacuum, let it sit there for over an hour at least. I mean, that's a pretty big system. And then we'll see if it holds the vacuum, and if it does, then maybe I'll think about recharging. But it's actually a little bit of a cooler day. I mean, we're probably sitting in the high 60s right now, so it's not the greatest day to actually go ahead and put a charge on, but we'll evaluate when we get there and see what happens. All right, still sitting about 20 inches. Well, let's see. I put this hose on right here and put just a little bit of Freon in there, and then right back to the back here, it was leaking. So I've got to take this hose off and go find another one. But man, it's not one thing, it's another. Well, I had to change that one hose out that I was showing you. This is top one right here. So it's basically the hose that comes off the high pressure side of the compressor. Prior to that, I was pulling a vacuum on the system. I was only getting about 20 pounds when the vacuum was running. I would isolate the vacuum pump, and it would, just start dropping it. Drop down to like 12 in no time, and then after I actually just cut off the vacuum pump and just let it sit, it would drain all the way down to 0. But now that I've actually got that new hose on there, you can see here on the gauge, I'm pulling almost 30 inches of vacuum. I'm probably about 28 inches there. I've had it run now for about 40 minutes. I'm gonna let it run for about another 15 minutes, and then I'll put some Freon in there, see if I can get that pressure to kick off, and see if I get AC back on the bus. Well, what I've discovered here now is I've got some Freon in there. I'm getting the compressor to run, but I came up here and checked my condenser area here. The fan wasn't working. I checked the breaker here underneath in the bay. I'll let you guys see that. Hopefully you can see it there. But it's these switches right up here in the bay. It's on most of the MCI buses. It's usually in the first bay. I think even on Gary's MC5, it's about the same location. A little bit different looking, but same general area. And but anyways, I checked those. The breakers seem to be, like I said, they tripped at first. I reset it. I checked on my relay there. On one side of the relay, it had power. The other side, it didn't. So I'd started the bus back up, turned the AC on, and yep, the breaker tripped again. So I'm suspecting it's probably the brushes here that are grinding out on the motor. So that's what I'm doing now, is just removing those. The guy that was kind of stopped by here and was talking with me, he said, make sure that I kind of hold these things back or whatever, because he says, you don't want to drop these things. He says, because if they go and you lose them, he says, you pretty much, you lost the motor. So, so I'm going to throw a zip tie kind of in there just to kind of, I guess, maybe see if I can hold it. So hopefully that'll do it. It looks like it's fairly simple. I mean, you just take the brush off. You don't lose the other one. So here's my new one. And you pull the, there's a little, there's basically a spring here that holds these brushes in place. So let's see if I can get that, there we go, that back. Pull the brush out somewhat. Oh yeah, that one's beaten down pretty good. It's not too bad, but definitely got some wear on it. It shouldn't matter which way the brush goes in, but you know, I'm going to turn around because I think for some reason I saw the lead on the bottom. So. Stick out a lot further when they're okay. So on this other one here, it's got a little guide that comes down, that spring sits and holds that brush in place. The clip actually was on the other side. It had worn down that much, so I guess there's a lot more wear down than I thought there was. So there's 4 brushes in here. So this will be my first brush. Got 3 more to go. So, you know, that's one thing about YouTube. I watch all these YouTube videos and people are all having fun, you know, converting their buses and putting on solar and all this cool stuff. And I'm still stuck doing basic maintenance here. But at least the good thing is if I can get this AC system to work, that'll allow me to have AC while I'm going down the road without having to use batteries and an inverter and stuff like that. I did order a battery with those Eve 280 amp hour lithium batteries. So those are the ones that come in the cells, and you got to basically build it yourself with like a BMS and stuff. So I've just got I've got 8 cells coming to make a 24 volt battery because I'm still on a 24 volt even house system. I've got a Vanair converter, which basically takes 24 volts, turns it down to 12 volts for all the 12 volt load inside. But I figured I'd keep it 24 volts. It also allows me in the future, if I decide that I'm going to go with some kind of like you know, solar or something, it's kind of less voltage that I have to drop down. I can, you know, get something around, you know, 36 volts or even higher and just convert it down to a 24 volt system to go to the battery. So ultimately, this is a pretty easy thing. I thought it was going to be a little more difficult, but yeah, you just change out a couple, just get these little brushes out. I think the hardest part is just getting old bolts. Right now I'm pretty much at the shop by myself. I had one guy stop by, Ricky, and he was the one that kind of helped me troubleshoot this. But the other guy, hopefully, will be back here pretty soon. My plan was just to take a trip once I was done with this, down to get some fuel. I'm probably sitting at about a quarter tank or so. You know, it prevents me from running the generator. So if I'm over doing work on the bus and I want to run the generator to get some AC inside, you know, it doesn't work. So yeah, this one looks like it's going to be about the same level as far as how far down it is.